New update for where I'm gonna head in these next few months, and I believe for a long time coming, is self-affirmations. There's a fuck ton of love bugs down here. If you don't know what those are, it's probably better off. They're super annoying. But anyhow, so I was turned on to a guy named Jake Ducey by a coworker of mine, in his YouTube channel, and his manifestations with self-affirmations and all that good stuff. I've heard of this stuff before. It's, I guess, ties into good energy going out, good energy coming back. It all goes in together. But the thing that really got me pumped was I saw one of his videos talking about how you can use water to essentially manifest whatever you want. And so I clicked on it because the link didn't make any sense to me. And so, you know, I was like, well, whatever. Let's see what this guy's got to talk about. So I started watching it, and essentially he goes into, you know, how we're all made up of anywhere between 60 and 75% water, and then the science behind water. And I went on a tangent looking up all the stuff relative to the science behind water. Pretty interesting stuff. There's a guy named Dr Emoto, I think. Probably wrong on the pronunciation. Japanese doctor / scientist that did an experiment on water, and you may have seen it before. But essentially, the water experiment. Sorry for going off camera, trying to walk and talk. But essentially, the experiment was, and I may be a little bit off on exactly how it works, but he took a bunch of different samples of water from the same water source and then talked to each of them differently. So he talked to some of the water like super, you know, positive. I love you this, I love you that. You're amazing, all that good stuff. And then another one he talked to saying, you know, you're a piece of shit. He would say all sorts of negative stuff and all sorts of positive stuff to all these different people, or all these different forms of water. Sorry, distracted by people, you know me. But then going back, and they cryogenically froze the different water specimens and saw the composition of those water chemicals after it was done. And that's what's most impressive. So I'm going to drop a link on this YouTube video so you guys can check it out too. There's science that backs all this shit. It's not just made up horse shit. It's real. And I think the coolest part about it is that it ties into us, you know. Affirmations with yourself, in my opinion, is affirmations with water, because water is in you. And if science backs up that if you talk to, you know, water in a shitty manner, or you're negative, I mean, the images of these particles, water particles, it's kind of crazy how gruesome and in disarray they are. And I think that there's a lot to that. So, you know, this guy, he's kind of a surfer hippie type dude. So for him, you know, when you watch his videos, it's like, ah, who's this fucking surfer guy, you know? So you may not think too much of it, but it seems to be pretty enlightened, you know? And so his thing was that you talk to your water essentially before you drink it. So you might look like a crazy person to some people, but fuck those people, you know? So I actually did it. I did a little test, and I talked to the water before I drank it earlier, and said I was thankful for it, and thankful for the universe, and, you know, I love you, water, this sort of shit. And honestly, it went down a lot smoother. It was more tasty. It was everything. It seems silly, but there's something to it, you know? It's easy to understand how powerful water is. I mean, obviously dispute the facts. You know, even if you're not a believer in spiritual type stuff, universal energy and all that shit, you can't dispute the power of water and how magnificent of a molecule it is, or element or whatever. It's the most prominent element on our planet. It's also the only element that has 3 different forms. I think it's like liquid, gas, and solid or whatever. You know, but there's a lot of scientists that have studied it and they can't explain a lot of the shit that it does. So they even went into like how, you know, if you took a bath in a fresh spring waterfall, it would be more replenishing to your soul than, or they alluded to that, than if you take a shower like in New York City, where all the water is basically force pressured through all these different fucking, you know, pipes and shit to get to you. And they even said some shit about how it's like the only natural world, what is the word, malleus? I don't know, some kind of a computer. So it's essentially it's a computer, but it's not. It like retains emotion, it retains what it sees, it retains like all this shit. Malleable computer. Science said that shit, right? So I started thinking, maybe this guy's onto something. You know, yeah, I did a much better job of discussing this with my uncle earlier when I talked to him on the phone. Long story short, energy is something that's real in the universe, and it definitely affects things and such. You know, good energy goes out, good energy comes back. Like, you can't refute that. It's a thing, you know. You can refute it, I guess, but there's a lot of evidence that goes towards it. And there's a lot of science that goes into the study of water. It's some pretty cool shit to look at. So I'm very intrigued by all this, and no matter what, I'm definitely going to start doing self-affirmations and going that route and seeing how it improves my life. To be honest with you, you know, the whole interruption with the weed and the smoking and the drinking and shit again, like, it fucked me up. And I've been kind of stagnant. I'm getting better. My mind's getting clearer. But today even I was a little stagnant. And to be honest, like, as soon as I watched that video and then like I fucking talked to my water, you know, sweet and shit, and drank it, I just got re-energized. Like, this whole thing is just re-energized. I talked to myself a little bit, you know, so that's something that I haven't done. A lot of times, you know, you want to change your thoughts, your emotions by thinking better thoughts, thinking more positive. But there's something, I think, to those thoughts and emotions just being in your head, right? Versus letting them out, whether you're writing them or yelling them or talking them, you know, crying, whatever, outward expulsion of emotion, whatever. Like, I think that shit is super key, and I've just been ignoring it, you know. And I sit there and wonder, why am I not where I want to be, you know? And I think that there's a lot of it is the weed, obviously, like, you know, for me anyway, and we've gone over that. So, you know, I fixed that, and now that my mind's becoming more and more clear, it's like, all right, there's something else missing. There's something else that's just not there. So anyhow, you know, join me on this journey or watch my journey. Either way, this is my new footprint, my new, you know, plan going forward. So I'm pretty pumped about it. What's funny is one little side thing, you know, is people try to knock you off your game, man. I was over here videoing some of this shit, and then these 2 little teenagers roll by, and they slowed down and yelled out, "What are you doing, faggot?" And I just looked at them like, you know, like, what, you know? And like, I brush it off, but at the same time, it's like, that's a little bit of negative shit getting in your fucking mind. I don't need that. Why are people like that? I mean, they're young and stupid. I probably did the same shit when I was a kid too. It is what it is. You know, I'm very, very proud of my passion, and I've been a little bit, I don't want people to watch me videoing and shit like that, but I'm getting over it. And I think that with this new self-affirmation and talking and fucking letting it all out and just being me and doing what I want. I mean, it's fueling my whole shit. So definitely pumped about it. Like the video, comment below. Please subscribe too, but comment below if you have an opinion on this and what you think. I'd love to hear everybody's opinion, and you know, join me on the journey or watch me on my journey. Either way, I'm super pumped about the new venture, and this is where we gonna go. Self-affirmations, talking to your water, making it feel good about itself, and drinking it down and being all good in your belly. Now that's the stuff right there. All right now. One love, real deal out.